AGP, Gorilla Motor, Hun, whatever's quick look at Castration Movie II Anthology, the best of both worlds. So, I paid $368 for both of these digital movies, which is like half my net worth. So, I feel compelled to talk about them. Well, mainly I feel compelled to talk about number 2, which is one of the best films I've ever seen in my life. And by far, the best film I've seen that is probably for Red Scare listeners to jerk off to. Much better than the last one I watched for them. But no, this movie is made by trannies, for trannies, and this movie hates trannies in like a really unique way that you could only do if you were part of the community to some degree, or familiar with it at least. And I guess maybe you could argue that like just all the straight up hatefulness is ironic, but I don't know. I get irony. I listen to Come Town still. Like, I understand things, I think. But this movie seemed really hateful and just wanting to be straight up misery porn for trannies. And I kind of love it for that. In fact, I would say it's one of the best films I've ever seen, which is really impressive because my film tastes are really good. In fact, they're most likely more obscure and less pretentious than all your favorite films. But like I said, I feel compelled to talk about this 5-hour odyssey through hell, and I'm not going to give a plot-by-plot description of everything that goes in the movie, but I think I should go ahead and go over the rough basics of everything that happens real quick. But if you have like 5 hours to kill or so, I highly recommend actually going and watching the movie first. You can buy it for kind of, I think, whatever you want. You get to name your price. It is definitely worth your time. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over like the main plot points of Castration. Like I said, I'm not going to go over everything, but it helps to have like a frame of reference. So to start, we sit on an uncomfortably long mumblecore scene of Trump, probably to try and set like the mental headspace of the viewer if I had to guess, which is like kind of annoyingly effective. But then we get to the actual film, and we start off in a trans separatist cult. Well, the cult is clearly like a metaphor for toxic trans polycules, complete with therapy speak and ketamine-fueled orgies. We get one of the longest orgy scenes I've seen outside of porn. It's basically 10 minutes straight of transsexuals doing ketamine in their underwear and having orgies. Absolute cinema. As someone who's been in many transsexual orgies, many of them drug-fueled, this scene is amazing. But then we actually get to the day-to-day life shit of the cult. Lots of daily yoga and eating one food obsessively for these people. Just hot dogs, no bun. For a lot of this early runtime, we're inside the cult, and it is making a bunch of metaphors to these toxic trans polycules, but talking to their AI overlord, who they all have personal confession time with, and seems way too weirdly into the youngest of them that had basically no life experience. Something that definitely kind of comes up again. Also, side note, I could kind of see what the director was hinting to a degree here, and I kind of agree. Maybe I'm just a bitter old tag, but isn't it weird if the majority of a polycule is full of people who can legally rent a car, and then to have a few members who like just got out of high school? I don't know. That's always seemed a little weird to me, and something that I've always kind of like avoided in trans spaces. Eventually we get to the girls reading 4chan printouts. Side note, and I love being hyper online and going on TTTT ironically to make fun of other trannies who are totally overreacting and call incels faggots and tell them to pink pill. I love doing all this and definitely not letting it affect my self-worth in any way. It's only funny, and all my external laughing is definitely genuine, because remember, I'm a cool tranny, I'm edgy and ironic, I call myself AGP Gigahun, I have framed pictures of Tony Soprano at the Mandalay Bay and Christine Chuddock doing the most sensible thing in the world live on TV. I'm totally cool, and definitely a former TTTT user who that in no way affected my mental health. But eventually, Circle thinks about transitioning and opens up to another member about it, but is immediately shot down like hard, and basically told not only can she not do that because she'll never be happy, but she'll never be allowed and can't leave the cult. But Circle really makes it clear that she does want to leave and just wants a cheeseburger, which, like, watching this movie again, yeah, hard same, and I can't wait to just get it. Eventually, the cult goes to seek out new members while just judging who looks good enough and who's actually trans that they could get to join. While they're out and about, Circle escapes from the cult and goes to a trans girl's house who she seems to have moved in with immediately after coming out, who also seems to be a predator or at least really creepy. Eventually, Circle grabs her shit and she books it despite the, like, hesitation from the other trans girl for her leaving and trying to get her to stay. We then swap over to see one of the trans girls who went off looking for Circle because the whole cult realized they needed to get her back, and she ran into one of her former trans friends she had before joining the cult. They talk it out. She gives her a cigarette, which is kind of funny because, like, she talks about how she's not allowed to smoke in this cult, which does mirror my own trans experience of, like, other trannies telling me, like, you can't smoke nicotine, it'll kill you if you're on estrogen. But it's like, I'm smoking a cigarette. I don't think I'm worried about it killing me. I know it's doing that. We cut back to Circle walking around the city, and she ends up running into these two drunk people. The guy propositions to pay her to eat out his drunk cis girlfriend. And this kind of skeeves Circle out and the girl, understandably, so they go leave this dude together. As they're walking around, the drunk girl's trying to be nice, but clearly has the understanding of gender that the regular Daily Wire reader does, and she tells Circle how pretty she'd be as a boy, but then they go off to a party together. Now we get to one of the most impressive scenes of the movie. This entire scene is the most accurate representation of what being at a party feels like. Its own kind of special overstimulation hell. But more importantly, now we meet Red Scare. Someone who we'll grow to learn is only like the third worst person in this film, but still absolutely insufferable. But seriously, maybe it's just my, like, total male aggression speaking, but girls like this are so fucking annoying. You aren't cool for hanging out at New York Bushwick parties or talking about Paul Schrader movies. It is very hard to hear in this scene, but it's so typical of being like, oh, I'm so cool, look at me talking about my Paul Schrader films and talking about Master Gardener. And it's like, bitch, talk about the good one. Talk about Mishima and First Reformed. Like, come on. Which I do think she brings up First Reformed, to be fair. But it's like, if you're talking Paul Schrader, Mishima should always be the first thing out your mouth. Oh, also, sidebar. Since we mentioned First Reformed, anytime I mention that movie, I have to bring this up. What the fuck is up with this poster for First Reformed? No, seriously. To anyone who's seen this movie, you know, this is one of the most ludicrous movie posters I've ever seen for a movie. It's so... Look! Just fucking look at it! Oh my god. It is insane. I don't know who designed this, but they're kind of a genius, and I kind of need this framed in my house. But, in sidebar. But anyways, enough dragging Ivy woke. But she is the most annoying character in the film, and I probably will be mainly calling her Red Scare through the rest of this, just so everyone knows. Eventually, Red Scare and Circle start talking, and she talks about how she used to be trans, but it was a cringe phase she got over. But, I mean, Red Scare wasn't. She was... But, you know, she's like AFAB, I think. I can't really tell if she's AFAB, and I looked it up, but it didn't say one way or the other. I think she might actually be trans in real life. I can't tell. She kind of looks like it. Like, but I don't know. But anyway, she goes on talking about how she used to be non-binary and woke in college, which is like kind of like just the modern version of being like a lesbo a year in uni, now that being bisexual isn't special enough anymore to cis chicks. But eventually, Circle, the drunk chick, and Red Scare all agree to blow the party and leave. As they're leaving the party, they meet the Chapo guys, and by that I mean, like, I'm pretty sure it's just the Chapo guys as themselves. I don't think they're playing a character. But they're chilling outside smoking a square, and the girls decide to bother them for one, while being very annoying and asking them over and over if Circle actually looks like a woman or not. Which the Chapo guys offer some like woke platitudes over and over, and after Red Scare continues to annoy them, they eventually just they tell her they'll answer however she needs, for her just to leave them the fuck alone. And so that does happen. We then move on to Red Scare introducing Circle to an older friend of hers who was a trans woman who detransitioned. And Red Scare is like clearly trying to talk Circle into detransitioning and like showing her how much better her life would be if she went back to being a guy. But like, she's just the most annoying person I've ever seen put on film. Like, I'm kind of I don't know if it's so annoying and so well. I don't know if Ivy Woke is one of the greatest actresses ever, but I don't think so. I have a sneaking suspicion she's just this annoying in real life. And sorry, I keep ragging on Red Scare, but from my research on this film, which was like reading 10 Letterboxd reviews in the wiki page of Ivy Woke, she seems to be into that whole, whatever the fuck it's called, squared circle bullshit. All the Bushwick kids who, like, because their whole area was woke, they decided that, like, counterculture was being anti-woke or whatever, but they're really just, like, trying to show how cool they are by being, like, non-conformist and not fitting in or whatever. Something fucking retarded like that. I don't know. She does fucking suck. But they go back to this guy's house, and he basically does tell Red Scare that she's incredibly annoying, and explains the hard truth that detransitioning didn't make his life any better either. Sure, it's easier in some ways, but it still sucks even more in others. Probably the most sensible take in the film, honestly. Being trans is hard, and it fucking sucks, but not being trans when you are actually sucks even worse, so it kind of is a pick your poison situation, I guess. After Red Scare's done annoying them, the cis chick and detransitioner end up hooking up, and Red Scare and Circle go on to get that burger that she's been wanting. As they're getting a burger and Circle fingers Red Scare in the park, Red Scare ends up talking Circle into leaving her cult. Circle decides to leave the cult and does run into another member who's looking for her, but this is one of my favorite scenes in the film. The other member basically gives her like a speech that's like, "We're all we got together down there. Please come back down there for me. I'm the clockiest brick down there, and you're like the only one that really like fit in with me." Just tries to basically talk her back into the cult, but Circle doesn't really fall for it and just wants to go back and get her stuff. And this is where the film goes full solo. This is one of the best scenes in any film I have ever seen. The leader of the cult is there. She gives a terribly melodramatic speech, and they trick Circle into signing an agreement to never leave. I mean, they say her soul is free, but like, she's not. They lock her in a dog kennel and scream woke platitudes at her in this weirdly aggressive, agreeable voice. This is honestly a nightmare torture scene. Not only because, like, on the surface, it's extremely unsettling situation, but in a way, these, like, trans polycules are your found family, typically, so for them to completely turn on you and treat you as an outsider just in a second is kind of horrifying in its own thought. Although, maybe this does say something about how maybe, like, it's not the healthiest thing in the world, trans communities, for just a bunch of people grouped together with no real commonality besides trauma bonding over being a tranny. But who knows? So this scene is like horrifying, but I do have to like sidebar, I find it a little funny because as someone who's been, locked in a dog kennel surrounded by trannies, not yelling at me, but spitting and pissing on me, it's actually not that unpleasant of an experience as this film portrays it to be. It's actually quite nice. During this intense scene though, it does come out that like the leader of this tranny cult was actually using it to groom minors into being trans and joining this polycule. It went full Daily Wire in a second with the plot. And to be fair, like, the polycule had no idea and immediately broke up when this came out to light. And you're gonna have predators in every community, especially ones full of traumatized, vulnerable people, because they're easy to manipulate. But this ending did feel especially hateful, even if it is in its own way like a community calling out its own problems, which I am normally a fan of, but sometimes you do have to like question, like, should we be making art like this for cis people? I don't know. It probably like reaffirms their own beliefs. But I don't really think that matters at the end of the day because I don't care about their opinions. Eventually, after this scene goes on way too long, Red Scare does show up and saves Circle. And then it shows that the cult immediately broke up, like I said. And we see the leader like being spied on and talking to someone else about their issues. Then we cut one of the most powerful scenes in the movie. It is Circle's detransition in a way. At least like the representation of it. After Red Scare saves Circle, they go back to her house and they kind of show her detransing by symbolically cutting all her hair off. Something that in all honesty must have been pretty brutal for the actress playing Circle, because the actress was a trans woman in real life, and trans women typically take their hair very seriously. I'm sure those were like her actual real tears in this scene. If she ever wonders if it's worth it, and by some weird happenstance sees this video, just know I thought it was worth it. I thought it really did add actually cutting off your own hair, and as painful as it probably was for you, I more than applaud you for it. And that's almost the end of the movie, but then this movie hits us with the biggest twist ending maybe ever in cinematic history. After all of this hardship that all these miserable characters have gone through, it shows us Red Scare and Circle sat on public transit together, now dating it seems, so at least they can both be annoying detranners together. But then they start performing music out loud on a public fucking train, which unfortunately means they're kind of the second worst people in this entire movie after the pedophile, and kind of retroactively makes Circle deserve everything that happened to them in the long run. Like, it's unfortunate, but people who play music out loud on public transit really are one of the worst people in the entire world and deserve horrific things to happen to them. And that is the general basis for Castration Movie Anthology II, The Best of Both Worlds. The perfect mumblecore, trans, Dante-esque, slow burn, roguelike, Souls-light, postmodern, Lynchian, neo-shamanistic masterpiece. I don't know anything about the director, except that she's also a fat tranny, which I love, because we do not have enough representation. There is not enough fat trannies out there. But I don't know anything about the director's views on the trans community or trans people at large. And quite honestly, I don't really care. Like, that's not important to me. What's important to me is how their art made me feel and what I took away from it. And what I took away from it is this is a masterclass in misery porn. In fact, it's probably one of the best examples I've ever seen of it, right up there with some of my other favorites like Solo, Martyrs, and Funny Games. And this movie honestly has scenes that can compete with any of them, especially the dog kennel scene. In my opinion, that's probably been one of the first scenes in cinema to truly rival, like, maybe even the dinner scene from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is one of the best masterclasses of misery porn I have ever seen in my life. It is a true modern odyssey through hell. I mean, there is no relief for anyone in this film. Transitioning didn't save her. Detransitioning didn't save her. Being heteronormative isn't going to save her. In fact, it's not going to save any of these people, nor is being queer. All of these people are deeply flawed and broken, and they're going to be stuck in their misery. In fact, there's only one thing that would really help these people, I feel like, and it was said by one of the greatest directors to ever live, and that is, fix your hearts or die. That's the only thing that would solve everyone's problems in this film. But I don't think that's going to happen either. So, yeah, Castration Movie 2 Anthology, The Best of Both Worlds. 5 out of 5 for a 5-hour movie that will probably only appeal to like roughly 0.001% of the population. Really just a small subsection of probably super jaded white transsexual women who probably spent too much time on 4chan in their youth. That's kind of who this movie feels like it's made for. And it is perfect for that group, which I'm a part of. So I truly couldn't get enough of this. In fact, I could have watched it if it was even longer. So like, do yourself a favor and go check out Castration Movie 2. I think you can buy it on the director's site, which I'll link below. And I think it's like pay whatever you want. Like I said, I paid like half my net worth earlier for it, but that was worth it. But you can pay whatever you want, I'm pretty sure. But seriously, do yourself a favor, give some real art a chance, and go check out Castration Movie 2. And have a great day.